No? We will be using the term narrative instead of mere stories. Kasi pag narrative, that means lived stories. Kasi pag stories lang, pwede yung chismis, pwede yung make-up stories, no? Narrative, lived stories. And then lahat ng mga storytellers through this Truth Commission, sila yung mga lived experience experts. Hindi ako, hindi kami, kundi kayo. Kasi story nyo yun. Personal experiences nyo yun. It's all about what happened. It's all about kung ano na nangyari sa'yo, what has become of you today. And it also is about the future. So, sino ba ang mag-define nito? Commissioners? Of course not. Kundi kayo. At dito natin i-integrate yung paghihilom. Because marami ding mga storytelling processes that actually re-victimize people even more. Siguro mga caregivers, alam niyo na yun. At in addition sa security issue, which is valid and we really need to address that, yung iba pa talaga yung the way stories are shared. Ilan sa mga kasamahan natin dito ngayon na ayaw nang magkapagsalita because the first time na sinishare mo yung anong nangyari, talagang parang na-victimize kayo, na-traumatize kayo. No? So, itong presentation natin ngayon, I will make it interactive. This is just to put things in perspective. Okay? This is nothing new. Hindi ito bago. Okay? We just want to, in fact, affirm and validate kung ano yung mga na-observe, na-notice, or maybe na-experience ninyo sa in the past couple of years. Few years ago, may experience ako working with Chito Generoso. Maraming mga families of victims sa AJK. I had the opportunity to facilitate. It was a 4-day, sa loob ng 4 na araw. No? It was all stories about what happened. Stories kung ano nangyari. At saka hindi lang yun. Stories about sa epekto sa nangyari sa buhay ng mga survivors at saka victims, sa pamilya at saka sa komunidad. And part of what I will be sharing with us, galing sa what I have learned, kung ano yung natutunan ko sa field. Okay? So ako, currently, full professor sa George Mason University sa Virginia. Ang mga subjects na tinuturo ko, conflict analysis and resolution, trauma healing, forgiveness and reconciliation in the midst of polarization, and then human trafficking and human smuggling, and also refugee and internal displacement. Part ito sa practice ko because I'm also a field practitioner. No, yun talaga ang forte ko. So I have known some of us here, and then let's make it interactive. No? So, una sa lahat, whenever we talk about trauma-informed care, may tatlong items yun. Number 1, especially sa konteksto ng Duterte AJK, the so-called war on drugs, no? Yung pag-realize the possibility, the prevalence of trauma. Itong trauma, isa pa to yung sa natin, isa to sa dapat pag-usapan natin. You know? Lalo na sa mga biktima, sa mga survivors, kahit na sa mga caregivers. No? I don't want to assume, but I would like to acknowledge the possibility na kahit na mga caregivers who were not primary or secondary victims of the AJK are also experiencing trauma. Because trauma is toxic. Trauma is toxic. Kaya nga yung ibang mga authors, mga scholars on this field, they even use the term radioactive element na mahirap i-contain ang trauma. Because trauma will always find its way to come out. And I wonder, mga caregivers dito, caregivers, who are your caregivers? Who are the caregivers of the caregivers? Ha? Tayo-tayo na lang, ano? Okay, caregiver, reaching out to caregiver. Okay, we need to be mindful about that. Kasi, ang trauma na hindi na-address currently, most likely, matransmit yun sa mga anak natin towards our children and our children's children. There is what we call transgenerational trauma. Kaya, the Truth Commission is very cognizant about this. No? How do we integrate the trauma of the victims, the survivors, whether they are primary victims or secondary victims? Kasi kahit na itong mga level ng victimization, iba-iba din. Siguro yung iba sa atin, ikaw talaga your primary victim. And you survived the shooting. You survived whatever was attempted to do against you. Pero yung iba siguro sa atin, witness. Nakita nila. But nevertheless, biktima din sila. At saka who knows, yung mga relatives natin, they heard mga stories kung ano nangyari at sila din naapektuhan. Tertiary, third-party victimization yun. Kaya, kung biktima ang pag-uusapan natin, iba-ibang level din yun. Pero yun ang tanong ko sa mga caregivers, back to caregivers. Who is extending care to our caregivers here? May outlet ba tayo? Okay. So, yun. And then, secondly, dapat ma-recognize natin kung sa anong paraan ang trauma nakaapekto sa atin. In what ways are we being affected by trauma? What are some of the ways? Anong mga pamaraan or paraan, ways where we are affected by trauma? How do you know? How do you know na yung pamilya niyo naka-experience ng trauma? How do you know that you are experiencing trauma? Based on the EJK's so-called war on drugs. Shout out lang, shout out. Ano yung mga manifestations? Ano yung mga indicators na siguro trauma was present? Sige. Anger. Okay, anger is a common response, no? By the way, trauma is a common response to something that is abnormal. It's a normal response to something that is abnormal. Kaya nga, from the perspective of Truth Commission, yung perspective namin sa trauma is hindi lang from the mental aspect, intrapsychic, like, what's wrong with you? But I think we need to reframe that question, what happened? Because we do not want to pathologize. Sorry for this term. Pathologize meaning trauma is a mental disease. Hindi ako naniniwala doon. Although that is part of the clinical approach. Trauma is not a mental disease. Trauma is a normal response to something that is abnormal. Kaya importante na ma-identify natin kung ano yung mga manifestations at saka indicators ng trauma. And then, we will come to that later on. So, ano pa? Anger.
Despair.
Despair. Ha?
Avoidance daw.
Avoidance. Anong i-avoid? I-avoid yung past. No? Kung anong nangyari as much as possible, sino sa atin dito, as much as possible, you know, you don't want to remember. Ayaw nyo nang i-remember kung anong nangyari. Okay? And we force ourselves, we try ourselves to forget the past. But then, na-realize natin na ang trauma talagang hahanap yun ng paraan to come out. Mga nightmares. Sino naka-experience ng mga nightmares? Bad dreams. In the middle of the night, mag-shout ka na lang kasi you are reminded of it. Or, flashback. Nagtrabaho ka, busy sa trabaho mo, and then, all of a sudden, may part sa past na talagang mapatulala ka. And then you just think about it. And then you realize, my goodness, it's already 30 minutes. And then you shake it off, and then back to work. Then, all of a sudden, yun na. And then, pag natapos, i-rewind pa. Tapos, i-replay. Ano pa? Ano pa ang mga manifestations?
Blaming others.
Blaming others. That is part of it. Or self-blame. Ilan sa atin dito ang nagbi-blame sa sarili nila? Self-blame. Part yun ng what we call survivor's guilt. Kung sana nandun ako, siguro hindi siya mapatay. If only I was there. Self-blame. Survivor's guilt. Ano pa? Maybe a couple more? Apathy. No? Sometimes itong apathy, part yun ng parang yung response ng body ko, nag-desensitize na. Parang nag-numb. Kahit na meron pang nangyari in front of you, yung body mo hindi na mag-react, mag-respond. Apathy, you become indifferent. Sometimes, irrationalize pa natin. Yung talagang mangyari, yun na. Let's just accept the fact. No! Yung EJK, within the context of the so-called war drugs, is not normal. Pero yun ang danger. And then of course, responding. So, paano natin ito i-put into action? Yan ang isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit nandito yung Truth Commission. Okay. By the way, kung may mga tanong kayo along the way, comments, questions, please feel free to just ask. No? So, whenever we talk about trauma, lalo na sa EJK, trauma is not just mental response. Mga relationships are also affected, right? One of the basic casualties of trauma is the loss of basic trust. Nawala na yung trust. Trust sa local government, trust kahit na sa mga neighbors natin. And then trauma also destroys our mindset. Parang we go crazy. Trauma also makes us question our faith. Is this part of the experience among others? Ilan dito ang trauma also became a faith issue? Now you started asking God, where were you? God, saan ka ba nung nangyari yun? Hindi. Okay, that's really good. Pero that could also be a possibility, no? Na ang trauma becomes an existential question. Ano ba talaga ang purpose sa buhay ko dito sa mundo? Yung iba, mag-give up na lang. Sige, ma'am.
May mga victims na nagsasabi na we deserve it. Kasalanan ko kasi.
Anong reason binigay nila?
Parang
Kasi part yun sa self-blame, no? Which is part of trauma.
parang we deserve it.
They deserve it. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Fear. Okay, at least that was very common response earlier, no? Fear. Fear of the safety, security. Okay, kahit na sound sa lightning or thunder. Okay, actually part yun sa replaying. No? Part yun sa kasi na-imprint na yun sa natin sa brain. Ha? Oh. And then parang maging hyper-alert, hyper-vigilance. Kunting skirmishes, kahit na thunder lang, grabe na ang response. Nagpanic. Okay, trauma yun. Yeah. Na-trauma. Okay. I think it's important na ma-recognize natin ito, no? Not to say na, again, trauma is a mental disease, but trauma as a normal response so that ma-integrate natin ito sa tawag natin na trauma-informed care. And then we are also mindful about this sa Truth Commission. Later on, we will come to, okay, so when it comes to the process of telling the story, ano ba yung mga briefings na kailangan before? And the good thing is, yung mga caregivers natin at saka mga programs natin ay nag-facilitate na ng ganitong klaseng conversations. Okay. So, yun. May epekto ang trauma, hindi lang sa psychological, sa mental, sa brain, kundi pati na sa relationship, sa meaning making natin. Okay? So, just to emphasize this, na whenever we talk about trauma, may tatlong perspektibo. Number one, trauma means the event that leaves us with lifelong problems. So yung EJK within the so-called war on drugs, talagang trauma yon. In fact, yon ang pinakasentro why we are here. Because until now, grabe pa ang epekto na dinudulot ng EJK within the context of the so-called war on drugs. So that is trauma. Any event or experience that leaves us with lifelong problems. Pangalawang perspektibo ng trauma, yung impact, yung epekto sa event na yun. Kanina, sinabi ni Kaloy, past na yun, past. I don't want to talk about it. Let's just move on. Can we really move on? Siguro the event tapos na, pero ang epekto is still very present. That is the problem with trauma. Yung iba sa atin, ayaw na nating pag-usapan yun. Ayaw na nating i-remember yun. Kasi past na yun. Let's just move on. Let's just do our best. Pero I remember yung sinabi ni Archbishop Desmond Tutu sa South Africa in the aftermath of the apartheid, yung white supremacy regime. Sabi pa niya, for South Africa to be able to move forward, dapat alam natin where we came from. We have to know our past. Because otherwise, the past will always haunt us. The past will always follow us. In the first place, hindi nawala yung past. We would like to recognize the presence of Dr. Fortun. Thank you. It's good to have you here. In the first place, yung past, it never went away. Ni-recycle lang natin yung effect ng past. Because that's true. Yung karamihan sa atin, ayaw naman, storytelling na naman tayo kung anong nangyari. Ayaw ko na yun. As if, makalimutan talaga natin. Hindi. It will always be there until we let go, we release. So siguro yung tanong ng iba, so paano ko malaman na I experience healing, paghilom sa past? When you remember the past, and the past no longer controls you. That is, isa yun sa mga palatandaan. Paano ko ba malaman, Al, na medyo naka-move on ako, na medyo naka-move on na yung family? Because we still remember the past. Kahit anong gawin namin, yung past, still, nandun pa. One indicator, when you remember the past of what happened, and then it no longer controls you. That is one indicator na ang paghilo is already taking place. Kaya, we understand, nirespeto natin yung response natin, yung reaction natin. Ayaw ko nang i-share yung past kasi ayaw ko nang ma-remember yun. But the fact is, it will never go away. We just keep on recycling. Gina-recycle lang natin yan within ourselves. So siguro, hopefully, if you're ready, siguro this Truth Commission is a space for you. Kayo ang in charge ng storytelling, ng stories nyo. That's why when you decide through your caregivers, through our organizations, na gusto mong i-share na for the first time siguro, after many years, in the past 10 years, it's something na dapat mag-reflect din tayo. Kasi I also would like to believe that karamihan sa atin, yung napakabigat na burden, ano ba yung burden sa Tagalog? Pasanin. Ay yung story na naghintay lang kung kailan ma-release, ma-let go. A story na talagang dinidibdib lang natin for many years para yung maging burden. Napakabigat na pasanin. Siguro you are waiting for something. That's why it is important na ma-define mo. Ano ba yung mga prerequisites? Ano ba yung mga requirements mo for you to start telling your story? Yung safety and security, I just would like to acknowledge that. That's for sure. How can you expect me? Paano mo ako ma-expect mag-share ng story when I don't feel safe? In fact, establishment of safety is number one when it comes to truth-telling through storytelling. Okay. And then, yung pangatlong perspective is the ways na yung mga tao nag-express ng effects or impact ng trauma sa buhay nila. So, tatlong perspective. The way you tell your story is different. Iba sa the way others also tell their stories. Kahit na yung mga perspectives, yung mga pananaw, iba-iba din. So, dapat mag-include ito sa storytelling process through this commission. Okay? And so ito, yung HJK is human-made trauma. Kasi may mga trauma din na ang cause is lindol. Di ba? May mga trauma din na ang cause is earthquake, or bagyo, or baha. Iba yun na klase na trauma. Yung trauma na pinag-usapan natin ngayon is yung trauma na ang kagawaran ay tao din. Kaya, dalawang major parties, victim at saka perpetrator. We have to include this. Kaya nga, for a victim focus, ito yung part sa truth-telling. Part ito sa briefings. No? Yung pag-prepare sa mga members natin before mag-share sila sa kanilang mga stories. Yung victim identity. Yes, dinidescribe natin kung anong nangyari, saan nangyari, kailan nangyari, paano ginawa. Pero, anong epekto nun? Sa'yo. Ano ang epekto yon sa identity mo as a human being? Hindi lang yung napakasakit, pero para sa'yo, ano yun? How did the HJK affect the way you look at yourself, the way you perceive yourself as a human being? That is very important. Kasi hindi yun, yung epekto na yun, hindi makikita sa iba. Ikaw lang ang nakakaalam doon. Ikaw lang ang may alam doon. Ano bang nangyari talaga sa komunidad natin? Okay, ito yung nangyari. Pero what has become of our community now? Ano bang nangyari sa pamilya natin? Dahil sa AJK. Ito nangyari. Pero what has become of the family now? Dapat ma-define din yun, ma-describe din yun sa mga storytellers. So siguro caregivers, siguro you have already been doing this, but siguro with just more intentionality. No? Dahil sa nangyari, ito na ngayon ang pananaw ko sa sarili ko. Identity. And then, isa pa, anong mga tanong victims usually ask? Mga victims, mga survivors, ano yung mga questions nyo related sa nangyari? Any question. Kasi isa to sa mga dahilan bakit napakarami ang galit. They have so many questions na walang answers. But nevertheless, ask them anyway. At napakaraming tanong ng mga biktima at survivors na ang makapagsagot ang perpetrator lang. Kahit na mga professor, kahit na pari, kahit na madre, kahit na pastor, makaprovide sila ng counseling, ng response. Pero karamihan sa mga tanong ng mga biktima at mga survivors, ang makapagbigay ng satisfactory and fulfilling answer ay yung perpetrator lang. Kaya we give space sa Truth Commission for that. Siguro yung iba sa mga survivors, ayaw na nilang makita yung perpetrator. Granting na identified yung perpetrator. Pero what if part sa paghilo mo ay gusto mo ma-meet, ma-encounter yung cause? Kung sino yung pumatay, kung sino yung offender. Kasi yung mga tanong mo for the last 10 years, you believe na yung perpetrator lamang ang makapagsagot. The Truth Commission is also open for that. If that is part of your healing. Kung part yun sa paghilo mo. Siguro yung iba, ayaw na nila. That's good. We respect that. That's why at this point, i-ano pa natin, i-describe at saka i-define pa natin, no? Yes, we need healing. And after this, we will also talk about justice. I need healing, paghilom. Pero, what do you mean by that? And paano ba natin i-facilitate yung healing na yun? Kasi yung healing para sa iyo at saka healing para sa pamilya mo might be different sa healing ng kasamahan mo. Even though lahat tayo biktima at saka survivors ng NJK. Pero when it comes to healing, your healing might be different from my healing. And so dapat ma-define din yun. So, sa Truth Commission, we are not imposing na healing is this, healing is that. No. Only the victims and the survivors can define it for themselves, and we respond. The same thing with justice. Last month, we had the opportunity, right? So, part of the briefing, salamat, part of the briefing doon, nag-share, we want justice, we need justice. And then tinanong ko, what do you mean by justice? At saka, totoo din ito sa iba, sa ibang context. Para sa iba, justice means punishment for the perpetrator. If that is what brings healing to you, that kind of justice, this is healing based on justice, so be it. Yung iba, yung justice para sa kanila is retributive justice. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Of course, part din yun sa anger and pain. Kung ito ang ginawa nila sa pamilya ko, we will also do the same sa pamilya nila. That is justice for them. Pero yung majority sa kanila nagsabi, justice for us is mabalik yung dignidad namin. That is justice for them. So, what do you mean by that? Paano ba natin ma-facilitate yon na mabalik sa iyo ang dignity niyo given what happened? Yung iba, that's why kahit na yung justice, of course, dapat ma-define din yun. Pero sino ang mag-define? Ang commission? Kayo. Because this is about you. Kayo. Yes. And then, we will find a way on how to address. That's why we need to consolidate yung mga stories. At saka yung mga definitions, descriptions of healing and justice. Yung iba, yung justice sa kanila is what we call restorative justice. Victim-offender conferencing. Na para sa amin, ang paghilom ng pamilya ko is personal face-to-face encounter with the perpetrator. That is what brings us justice. Others, justice for them is for the perpetrators to acknowledge and ask for forgiveness. That is justice for them, more than anything else. And sinabi yun kanina, no? We are also open to the possibility na who knows, may mga perpetrators din na nakonsyensya na and they just wanted to meet in person the people they hurt. For whatever reason, because they too, perpetrators also need healing. Whatever healing means to them. Although some victims and survivors, parang masakit yun madinig. You know? Because perpetrators deserve punishment. But what if the perpetrator is also sincere? Kasi apektado talaga ang buhay nila, yung conscience nila. And they want to also meet the people they hurt. Of course, hindi lang yung basta-basta na dalhin yung mga parties together, no? Kailangan pa yun ng process, caucusing, until all the parties involved are ready. Because otherwise, it will just re-victimize people who don't want to have that personal encounter. That's really true, and we have to respect that. You killed a loved one, and now you want to meet us. We don't want that to happen. Okay? Process. If after several months of briefings, caucusing, still I don't want that to happen, then we cannot force the person or the family to meet the other. Siguro they have a different way. Siguro yung justice para sa kanila is iba. This is where healing comes. Kayo ang in charge ng storytelling. Kayo ang in charge even to define what healing means. That's why siguro sa karamihan natin, yung healing, yung justice is an ongoing process.